we have Jeff Cork,
Hello.
the man who reviewed Tetris Effect.
It's true.
Now, I think in honor of Tetris Effect, Leo in the booth, feel free to make this segment trippy as hell video-wise. Things are going to get weird. Tetris Effect, what a lovely thing.
It's so good, right?
Yeah, is that just the take? It's freaking great.
I feel vindicated. All you haters out there, when I said Tetris was fun, social media said, no, we don't believe you. And now look at you come crawling back.
I feel like I've had a lifetime of arguing with anybody making a new Tetris game. Mm-hmm. Just don't F with Tetris. You can't top it. It's Tetris. Just keep it vanilla, you morons. And now they mess with Tetris.
Very productive conversation.
Really mess the hell out of Tetris.
Yeah.
And everybody loves it, and it's great.
Well, they do and don't.
That's interesting. Explain.
I didn't have anything else to add to
Come
that.
on, smart guy.
No, I mean, at its core, it's like a little window, and there's Tetris playing, right? And at its core, it is Tetris. It's not like they're like, well, it's like there's one weird mystery mode that has some weird shapes, but it's not like they're like, this one's 8 segments. Check this weird line out, or anything like that. It's just, it's the same Tetris you've played.
The best game ever.
One of the best games of all time,
Yeah.
I think you can safely say. But with a really fun, cool soundscape.
Yes. Don't play this game with the volume off, ladies and gentlemen. Jeff, what has tickled you about this game?
That's okay.
Shut the hell up.
No, it's
We got a live one here.
it's super awesome. There's like a whole genre of music games that I don't particularly care about that people lose their minds about.
Explain.
Every game that you like.
Oh, like Amplitude and stuff?
Yeah. And they just haven't done much for me in the past. And I went into this one I love Tetris, obviously.
Before this, where do you stand on like Lumines?
I don't even know what that is. Don't care.
Okay. Really?
I don't care about these games.
Okay.
If you could put local ignoramus in the Chiron, Leo, that'd be helpful.
Yeah, but they just haven't done much for me in the past. And so I went into this one that wasn't a huge draw for me.
Yeah.
But the fact that they tie all of the kind of soundtracks into you moving around the pieces just blew my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's what Luminous is, though.
And I know,
Exactly.
and I know you're a dumb jerk who doesn't appreciate that because you kept on. Well, while Cork was playing, you were like, "Is there a way to turn that off?"
It was incredibly rude.
I can't believe I brought it up. I love some of that music so much. There's not every level. Like obviously some where they bake it in, like the jazz, cityscape stuff. There's some levels where I think it's really important. But there's other ones where it's like I enjoyed the background music so much. I would just like the option to turn off every time I rotate it making a sound, and that's not an option. I understand that's the core of it. Okay, here's the thing.
But it's built into the songs.
Yeah, but sometimes it doesn't improve the song, I guess. And
Get
when I
rid of
just
the
wanna-
T block while we're at it.
Yeah, the no good block.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. This is one of my favorite experiences of the year. Absolutely love Tetris Effect. Cyril, correct me if I'm wrong. Every once in a while, I see some hype on Twitter about this game where it's like, am I missing something? Like, there is a level of enthusiasm for this game from certain people in the game industry which act like it's the second coming of Christ that I don't think I quite see.
Cyril is one of them, though,
I
right?
think that's where I'm going, yeah.
What do you mean?
What crazy thing did you tweet out?
Oh, I let me find the tweet real quick.
Oh, you know, just
Well, I said it was it was a joking tweet, to be fair, but I said when all the video games from 2018 die, I think Tetris Effect won't be the only one that goes to heaven. And that's because there's nothing like screwed up about what you're doing. There's no like you're not murdering people, like there's no like it is just a fun thing that you don't have to feel morally compromised about ever touching.
It is lovely.
Oh, that's a hot take.
Yeah.
It's just it is
even
just,
like the weird Native American levels, I got no problem with that.
like
That's fine.
I mean, there's a difference between cultural and like whatever, and appropriation, like whatever. But like every level, I think is this super cool like individual like experience, and they do a really good job of, so like there's segments, right? Like of like you're gonna play 3 or 4 or 5 songs, and they thread each other. And they don't feel compelled to like, we need to start at level 1 difficulty and end at like 20.
Yeah.
So like it oscillates up and down depending on the song. And I feel like that's what, Mizuguchi is really good at, is being like creating synesthetic games.
And I love the idea too that it's not just a matter of the levels are going to get faster and faster. Like there's some going through that journey mode, which is kind of like the story mode, which like by the end it'll just slow the hell down just for a nice twist if the music goes accordingly.
What's super cool about it too is like in a particular like stage, it kind of ebbs and flows. But then when you can play through the entire journey mode back to back to back to back.
Yeah.
You can keep continuing. And then you'll notice that each stage does that too, kind of pulling back a little bit. It's
Right.
fantastic.
And as everybody knows, playing through the journey mode will teach you that the story is about
Whales.
Yeah. Whales are cool.
Yeah,
isn't
there
it?
are whales.
Well, I feel like not to like take it too seriously, but I feel like the Tetris effect that they want you to achieve is sort of like being so in the zone that you're not thinking about anything else. But I feel
Right.
like sort of in a roundabout way, like once you get into like deep enough into it, you start like the blocks, moving the blocks around just becomes so like ingrained that you also start having other thoughts, and eventually you start thinking about like the background music a little bit, and you're like, you know what? Maybe we should all be, more united as a people. Like maybe we like. Let's
Wait, because
be more
of like
positive.
the background music?
I do
Like-
want to worship fire.
Yeah, but like you like not like it's not like a deep message, but at some point you start sort of thinking about a lot of the peripheral elements of what's actually going on in the background.
Right.
And I feel like that's sort of like that's maybe where people are taking away. It's like, oh, it's such a transcendent experience of like it got me to think about life as a thing.
Especially the ones with lyrics. Is that what you're going for?
A little
Or
bit,
even-
yeah. Like
okay.
where it's like if you look at those lyrics on paper, they're just super hokey. Like they're like absolutely corny. But like if at any point you're thinking like, you know what, that's not a terrible message. Like that is sort of where you reach sort of that like this is really
Yeah.
fun, and I'm having an experience that I haven't had with Tetris.
And as
before.
everybody knows, when you have a moment like that, you have to say out loud, "I'm having an experience right
Yeah.
now."
I'm having an experience right now. Yeah.
You mentioned the jazz piano level with
Yeah.
the cityscape in there, and it's funny because like Kyle, that's like his favorite one. My brother was in town, so I'm like, "Hey, this is a game that you could play," because he doesn't play games very often. So he said, "Can you show me that cowboy game?" And then, so maybe I stand corrected. There are people that don't pay attention to stories and games. No, but then I showed him Tetris Effect. I'm like, "Here, play this," and I set it to that level, and it sounded like a cat who had been like partially anesthetized, staggering across the keyboard, because it's like the point is like as you rotate it, it kind of like has the little piano licks will
Yeah,
play.
yeah.
It was awful. It sounded so bad, and it was funny because like while I was playing it, as a fairly okay Tetris player, I should hope so. I was like, even that one was like a little noisy and weird, but I mean, you could kind of have sections that made sense musically, and it was kind of okay. But I think he broke the game. He was so bad at it, and watching him, I wanted to like use him as a battering ram on my TV.
And
It
he's
was so frustrating.
he's an Olympic gold medalist, isn't he?
He's the coach for an Olympic gold medalist.
And this is the kind of
Yes.
crap he pulls off in Tetris.
Just
That's disgusting.
garbage. Not even like he shouldn't even be allowed to look at the winner's stand.
Meanwhile, I don't know if you saw, but
Yes.
somebody uploaded footage just of that level, and Brad Bird, the one and only Brad Bird, director, Incredibles, the greatest film of all time, he tweeted that video out, and he said, "This is so cool."
Those are his exact.
Wow.
Holy.
Yeah, he said
Really?
It. He said it out
you
loud.
can quote him on it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Holy
Funnily
this is so cool.
Funnily enough, sorry. Go ahead.
This is so cool. That's a very
I'm having an
high
experience.
praise. I'm having an experience.
But like I feel like my favorite levels are the ones where they're less musical and more sort of like I really like the one where the moving the blocks is like crunching on snow.
Oh, that one's so good.
That one's
Yeah.
really good
Yeah.
because it doesn't make me feel like I'm just composing a really bad song like you mentioned. And there's one where you're like on a space station or something,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and the rotating
The orbit one?
sort of sounds like gibberish, but like in the voice
Yes.
of like one small step for man.
To the point that I wonder if they sampled actual like
Right.
rips from NASA recordings or something,
Yeah.
and it's just like weird syllables
Yeah.
from those old tapes.
like-
That one's so cool.
I like the one that sounds like wood blocks kind of colliding. It's with the windmills, I think.
Yep, and it
Yep.
kind of looks weird. I like
Yeah.
that all the different levels have different styles for the Tetronymos, but none of them are like incoherent, which I feel like would be so easy to do.
It's
They're
not like
all-
the dog paw in Luminous. There was that one level that had
Yeah.
the dog paws. Every time I saw that, it was just like, ugh.
Yeah, and there's one I forget what level it is, but the Tetronymos they look like little gummies covered in like sugar. I just want to eat them every time I see
Yeah.
them.
Yeah,
It's so
and
delicious.
there's one where they're gears, and just the sound of them kind of clicking into place
Yeah.
feels so good.
Yeah, and also I love on the list of other things I love about Tetris Effect. I love that I forget what the modes are called, right? Where it's just like, hey, clear 40 lines or do it in 3 minutes. I love they just have the classic ass shapes, but even those look so good in this. Not to mention that once you hit like level 50, apparently you unlock like the Game Boy theme with the original theme and and whatnot, which is
Is it a
very
remix
cool.
or is it like straight up the actual?
Straight up, which I love that that's in there
Yeah.
because Mizuguchi teased it when he was on the podcast a little while ago on the Rapid Fire. Like he wouldn't reveal if that song was in there. So I'm happy that it is baked in as some sort of secret. In
Yeah,
there.
this guy likes a particular mode.
Jeff Margiafava has the floor.
I think it's called Master Mode or something like that. But I
The
have
fast one?
Yes, whenever a Tetris game comes out, and I reviewed Tetris versus Puyo Puyo, the one I'm always looking for like
Versus Larry Flynn.
one that gets close to the Tetris Grandmaster series, which is the one where they just immediately fall to the bottom.
Yeah.
And I asked Cork about that, and then it actually has one that is as close as we kind of get in the Western.
You just want it
audience to
brutally fast.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they deliver it, and it's super good.
Yeah. You know what they don't deliver? There's a lot of modes baked in here. I think it's cool. It's got some flexibility. I love like having the just having the playlist. So like here's an underwater playlist. Here's a space playlist. Just play through 4 stages, all that kind of stuff. It's a $40 game. Some people have been critiquing that, like, they're really worth $40. It is Tetris. It's a beautiful, funky version of Tetris. But and I understand it's all about the experience. It's all about playing the game and looking in a mirror and saying, I'm having an experience right now. But
You want your player too?
I love some
Yeah.
good competitive Tetris, and it really bothers me that it's not in there. I understand musically, acoustically, it'd be a disaster, but for $40 of Tetris, like I think I'd want that in there. You know,
I certainly wouldn't mind if they had more crazier modes. You know, like you don't have anything like it's called something different in every Tetris game, but like the Cascade ones where, you know,
sorry, I
pieces-
just glanced at what Leo's been doing to the camera. Okay,
You
sorry,
told
guys.
him to. You
I
gave
know, I'm
him
sorry.
free
I won't
reign,
look at that
so-
again. I won't look at that again.
Yeah, but you know the Cascade ones where if pieces are kind of overlapping, they'll drop off and kind of fall down into the wells. I would like more kind of different adventurous modes. The ones that are in here, I think, are really good, and there
Yeah.
are some kind of really weird ones.
Like
but
some of the Tetris DS stuff I thought was really cool.
Yeah, what do you mean by that?
Like there was one where you're you're basically making a ball of Tetris and you're dropping from like both sides basically. So like you're building this enormous ball out of like Tetraminos, and there's one where I think it's just like all of them were inspired by like Metroid and Zelda and Donkey Kong.
I mean,
and
let's
stuff.
not get crazy here.
Well, but
so,
like
with
I-
weird
you said you
Tetris
wanted more
balls.
adventurous.
No, not
adventurous
that,
bo-
not
okay,
that
all right.
experimental.
Frankly, that's disgusting. Cork, you talked about the final level and how you actually achieved Nirvana playing it.
Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was like probably the most emotional I've been about a game this year so far.
Really?
Did you have
It
an
just
experience?
felt very nice. Yeah, it was great. It was wonderful.
And the last level I think is interesting too because it is like this transcendent emotional experience. The music is just incredible, but at the same time, it's kind of a son of a. 'Cause
Yeah.
you have to go from 30 lines clear to 90, and that moves fast. Did you guys have a tough
It
time
gets
with
very
that?
fast. Yeah.
You didn't have a tough time.
Sorry, no.
Really?
I had trouble with some of the like the 6 when it went up to like 5 levels.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I'd end a level and I'd be like, oh, I'm just completely screwed up when this next song starts. But that one level, because I think it's less lines overall than you clear in some of those segments, in some of those multi-song segments, because it's 90 lines versus like 30 per segment in those lines.
Right.
But it didn't feel like the hardest part of the game for me, for sure.
Really? God, I thought I was really something at Tetris. Like I normally just, when we played in Osaka, when we were there on the Monster Hunter cover story trip, we played a lot of Puyo Puyo Tetris, and I just mopped the floor with you.
Made you feel very good.
I thought
I'm
it-
glad that you had a nice time.
Because you're such a Tetris old timer, you weren't used to the hold.
Yeah.
Like that you had to get used to using hold, which now in this game is obviously in there, and it's just the best thing ever. But I thought it was really somebody until that final level just repeatedly kicked my ass. But I love having a song that you just have to grind into your head. And when the song is so good, it reminds me of like
It's
the
a really
heyday-
good song.
Yeah, the heyday of just music rhythm games, where it's like this song I should hate, but I still love it, and I'm just hearing it again and again and again, and it feels like a lovable foe that you eventually can conquer.
Do you still like the first song the best overall?
Yeah, I understand. Mark McDonald said that last song was his favorite. I could see that. I think they might both be the same singer because there's definitely like there's a musical callback to the first song in that final
Yeah.
song, and it sounds so similar that
It's
I'd
like a
imagine.
reprise kind of.
Yeah, and it's I think it's Katie Brady. I think in the credits it's the
Come
singer.
on.
I really
Go for the cheap joke.
what is that?
Katie Brady. You just made that up.
I think that's the singer's name, but like I looked up all the video of her on YouTube just to find more of it. I want
Creepy.
to hear her, not in a creepy way. I want to hear that singer like do an acoustic version of that first song, Connected. I just still love that song so much. So she's welcome on the podcast at any point. Fly out to Minnesota to do
Musical
an acoustic
performance.
version
Don't do it.
here.
It's a trap.
We'll bang the percussion on the table or something.
How's the VR?
Ooh, yeah.
It's cool. It's I won't say it's overwhelming. It's like there's a lot to take in just because you could look around and everything. Like the analog sticks, if you move those around, and then when you're just playing on a regular display, will kind of change the field.
Yeah.
Which seems kind of silly because
Right.
it's basically acting as what you do with your own skull and eyeballs in VR. But it looks really nice.
Can you look behind the field and figure out how to get good at Tetris from that side?
You see where the blocks are coming from, actually.
Oh,
It's
wow.
horrific.
They're bouncing off a trampoline, which is pretty. It's
Amazing.
Wow.
It's gross. It's not a nice trampoline.
Yeah.
It's yucky.
With Duristine and Tetris Effect, Astrobot not too long ago, I think I might be at the point where
Don't do it.
I think PSVR has
Don't
turned
you
the
do
corner.
it.
I think it's dug itself out of the hole.
Are you going to buy one?
No, I have one in the office. I'm a little bit spoiled that way.
Yeah,
but for people that are lightly interested in VR, I think I might be able to sincerely recommend it. And
Are
I
there
did.
Black Friday deals too?
I think I think I saw some people tweeting about that and stuff. But where do you guys stand? I think we've hit the turning point. I think that well is full enough now where I won't feel bad saying head on down.
Yeah, especially if you haven't played Resident Evil 7. Like,
Yeah.
that's a great game for that platform.
Yeah. Jeffem, has it turned around?
I mean, not for me, but if you're inclined to play VR, then do what you want
And
to
it's
yourself.
that kind of insight that you come to the Game Informer show for. I really appreciate it. So I was shocked to learn, I didn't even think about this. Tetris Effect is still PS4 exclusive right now, even though you can play without VR. If it follows any sort of trajectory, like Res Infinite was exclusive for 11 months, Double Fine's Rhombus of Ruin, which was on PSVR, that was exclusive for like 14 months. So I'd imagine around that year mark or something. Hopefully sooner, we'll start to see this in other systems.
Yeah.
Hopefully on the Switch.
Hope so, because more people should play it. It's really a great game.
That was just a clip from a larger show called The Game Informer Show. You can find it on iTunes, Google Play, or GameInformer.com. We take the fun opportunities and exclusive information from Game Informer magazine and boil it into a show that airs every Thursday with exclusive cover story information, developer interviews, a lot of fun stuff. So come love games with us.